I'm Brian, and I'm here to hack on some TigerBeetle. Again, immediately screwed up my audio. I'm Brian, I'm here to hack on some TigerBeetle. This is a stream where I am working on the Rust client for TigerBeetle. TigerBeetle, of course, is a high-performance financial database written in Zig. It's got clients for, remembering my spiel, it's got clients for all of the languages you might want to interact with it with, but not Rust yet. And so this is a project that I'm doing entirely on stream, front to back, over many months now to create the Rust client for TigerBeetle. We are continuing to inch closer to a completed PR. And we've had this PR in review for 2 months, and we've done rework on it, and we've rebased, and it's just going, pretty good. We're repeatedly 90% of the way to getting this PR landed. And today we're going to get up to 95%, or maybe all the way there. The only thing I know on this PR that we have to do is do the CI integration. I think originally, way back when I filed this PR, I was like, yeah, we're not going to do CI yet. We'll just land it and then move on. This is not the final version of this project, just kind of the landing, the initial implementation. But it's kind of starting to feel pretty well polished, and like we probably should have CI for it, especially just to ward off any churn in tree. We've already merged around a significant breaking change that broke our PR, and that took a week or so to fix it on stream. So might as well get the CI in and force the Rust client to not break in the future. The CI, though, for TigerBeetle's client specifically is fairly involved, as we discovered last time, and so I saved it all for one big stream. So maybe today we'll be able to get through all of the CI changes. I don't know, though. It involves a lot of Zig scripts. So we're going to do some Zig programming on this TigerBeetle stream today. Let's see. I think the thing we need to do first is go look at the PR again. I just discovered today somebody commented on this PR linking to the unofficial TigerBeetle Rust client. And either I didn't know about it at all, or perhaps, I'm trying to find this window, or perhaps somebody told me about it and I forgot about it. But there is an unofficial Rust client here, if anybody wants to give it a shot. I don't know anything about it. I haven't looked at it yet. It is permissively licensed, though, so I might give it a read sometime. I did notice looking at this, though, that, of course, they have a syscrate for doing their bindings to the native TB client library that is written in Zig. The Rust client and all of the bindings are bindings to a single static library. And typically in Rust, when you create bindings, you isolate those bindings to what's called a syscrate. And the reason is because native code doesn't really have any versioning protection around the way it names symbols. So if you intermix two native crates with their same symbols, it's just going to be a catastrophe. So I think the one thing that syscrates do is make sure that there's only one version of that crate in your crate dependency graph. But I didn't even completely slip my mind that I should be creating a syscrate to house our TB client bindings. And I asked Matt Clad today if he wants to go ahead and do that here, or we should punt it. I don't even know how important it is. Probably should do it for correctness, but most people using this library are going to be using this library kind of near the surface of the application. Probably not going to accidentally have two Rust client crates in their dependency graph. Okay, so yeah, the only thing I think last time I mentioned on PR, like, gotta want to do the CI, and haven't received any responses yet, so nothing new there. I do want to go check out other TB pull requests, TigerBeetle pull requests, because MattClad mentioned recently that he has made changes to the CI, which is we're gonna want that in our tree if we're gonna mess with CI. What is this? I don't know what that is. What is this? I don't know what that is. That's the unofficial client. Where's my pull requests? Oh, I clicked the wrong tab, I guess. Okay, so here is some CI stuff. What is this? Okay. A CI command in the TigerBeetle build script is going to run some set of checks, a subset of checks that the real CI does, I guess. I don't think that's the one he's talking about, though. Let's see, what else do we have here? None of this looks like it. Maybe it's already closed. Again, I'm just looking for some PR that touches CI, probably in the last couple days. Last week, doesn't seem likely. Maybe it is not actually closed. I'm not seeing it here. Not seeing it here. Well, maybe we'll do a merge with main anyway, just to see. So, what MattClad said was that he was reducing the amount of YAML in the CI. And we did see some of that YAML last week. So we'll just do a merge with main and see if that impacts the amount of YAML in our tree. So that our commit log here. Okay, we just got this one work in progress commit. Let's see what's in that. Something about the CI. Okay, so we were messing with the YAML for the CI. And just starting to edit the CI script. Yeah, there's a bunch of CI Zig code. All right, so I'm gonna fetch. I'm wondering if any of this actually builds. This might need to be stashable. Might need to be stashed. Let's just get reset and just stash that away. That may or may not be useful for us. We're going to kind of start over on the CI here. Git fetch origin. We'll do another merge with main. And let's go just look. Before I did that, I should have done a diff on that CI, or seen what was in that CI directory at least. But I didn't bother. Workflows. Well, this still looks pretty chunky, so I'm guessing that whatever MattClad was discussing about reducing YAML, he has not actually done it yet. Let's just see if there's anything here that looks like this merge. If this merge didn't really affect us, I might undo this merge. I just hate having lots of junk commits in my history. Quite a lot of stuff has changed. Oh, stuff in TB client has changed. That affects us potentially. All right. Let's keep this merge and then run our tests and just make sure we're still in a good state. Cargo check, cargo test. While that is doing stuff, let's see if we can remember basically all the files involved here. So here's our YAML. And our stash that we just stashed is going to contain a new entry for this configuration matrix for Rust. And most of this stuff doesn't change, but we do have to add which set of GitHub actions to pull in. I don't really know anything about what that does, but it'll pull in like Rust, basic Rust environment. And then we just run this build script. So we say zig build scripts --ci. And that CI runs this binary right here in our source scripts directory. And then this in turn pulls in modules from all of the clients. So there's just a little bit of zig glue code in every single client directory. All right, our one test is passing. So let's go ahead and unstash and look at our diff here. Okay, there's our Rust configuration. We're not going to know if this works for a long time, since it's basically me pushing it to GitHub tells us if it's doing something correct or failing. Stuff here changed. Oh, look at all this stuff. Deprecated. Oh man, so much stuff here. What is this? So all of the old operations codes have been deprecated. What is that about? It doesn't look like the set of operations has changed, but a bunch of these have been deprecated and replaced with new ones with the same names but different codes. And it doesn't seem like it has impacted our client in any way. Like we're using these all by name, so our client will have switched to these codes and is not using these deprecated codes. I feel like we got to go look through the PR queue and figure out what happened here. Let's say git blame, just try to localize who did this, and then maybe we can figure out what PR it's in. Git blame c tbclient.zig. We saw that in the diff, it had changed. Actually, let's not blame, let's get log. Tracer use time. Parameterize everything over tracer. April 3rd, that's recently. February 17th, rewrite the timing interface. Let's get log, not the TB client, but let's look at those operations, which should be in either TigerBeetle.zig or statemachine.zig. This doesn't look like it. VSR state machine. What do we have here? Oh, there it is, statemachine.zig. Maybe it is this thing about tracer. I would like to understand why all these codes got deprecated. All right, let's look at, what is this called? Operation. I don't think operation is here. No, it must be in state machine. Here's operation. Operations not encoded as multi-batch. Okay. That kind of explains why I couldn't find this in the recent logs, because this multi-batch PR has been in the works for many months. So the timestamps on those commits are probably pretty old. Okay, so there's some kind of feature around more batching in the client. Seems to not really impact Seems to not really impact what we're doing here with the Rust client bindings. Well, that's nice at least that it's not going to, we're not going to have to do more rework there. Let's again look at our diff. And actually, let's go check in this TB client. This is a generated file. So when we did the rebuild, this file was created. Let's give that its own commit. And then I'll go ahead and check in this GitHub workflows, this YAML. I think what we've written there is correct, but we wrote that last stream before I really understood the epic scope of the CI changes needed. And really, it's not really gonna impact what we're doing for quite a while now. What did I just do here? Oh, I did a weird CD. That's not what I meant to do. I want to just add that YAML and put it in a little temporary checkpoint commit. And I just did it wrong. I committed both files. I just wanted to commit one. Git commit. Habitually I do -A when I commit, but in this case I don't want to do that. All right, so the only thing left dirty here is this first little step toward adding a Rust CI script. Let's go ahead and familiarize our fingers with what it takes to run this CI script. Because we're going to have to run this command over and over while we develop this. And so if I recall, it's build script, and this script is just a command in the TigerBeetle build script. And then there's a subcommand called CI. And I think we do --rust. I'm not sure though. But anyway, it doesn't matter too much because this isn't going to build. Because this file doesn't exist yet. So we're going to go touch that file and then just slowly work through it and try to figure out what we need to do here to fulfill this CI command. No build step named script. Let's ask for help then. Oh, build. I thought it was called script. Will this tell us something? Let's ask for help and see if it helps us. Scripts, right there. Scripts. And we're going to go ahead and create this clients rust ci.zig. And we can go ahead and even write that. So Zig will find it now. So here's the error, it can't find it. Now it should find it. But there's nothing in there. But maybe it will tell us validate release. Okay, it gave us one error. It was looking for a function called validate release. I'm sure there are others in there that it's going to want. So to crib off this, I think we'll go look at the Go version. Source scripts, nope, source clients, Go CI. Okay, so we have to do something like this. And this looks, I'm just looking at all the pub things to see what the interface is here. There's a tests function, presumably for running a test suite in a language specific way, so probably none of that will apply to us. And validate release. So this seems to be the big one, but do feel it. I keep going right into the microphone. Sorry about that, y'all. I do feel like this changed since last time we looked at it. There used to be stuff in here. What up, No Siam? Good to see you back. Today I'm just doing the thing that we ended up last time, trying to understand how the TigerBeetle CI works for clients specifically. And last time we looked at one of these scripts, there was stuff in here about building the readmes, because every client has a generated README file. And it seems like maybe this has changed. So let's go ahead and open that file and see what's in it. Huh. I mean, that might be good for us, because then we don't have to necessarily make a generated README right now. We can just focus on just the CI. This could be a win for us. It seems like somebody has done some cleanup here. Scripts. All right, so there's CI, client readmes. I wonder when this gets run at this point. Let's see, we can rip grep client readmes. We can rip grep from the correct directory. Client readmes. Who runs this and when is what I'm curious about. Oh, CI, the main CI script does appear to invoke the client readme script. So still we may have to go mess with this. And let's look again at that main CI script. And what does main do? Okay, so there's additional args. Build docs. So you can validate the release, build docs, generate readmes, or run tests. And these are all under different sets of flags. Let's again go look at that YAML file and see which one. Oops. YAML. So the smoke test, probably not going to affect us. That build docs may be unrelated to clients. It's probably just the main docs, and that probably doesn't build the client docs. So for the clients, it just says language equals this thing. So it's probably going to hit this fallback case. Generate readmes and run tests. That makes sense. I wonder what the process for publishing client bindings is. Whether that's automatic. I think the CI process and the release process are completely disjoint though, so probably we just haven't seen the configuration for that yet. Okay, I'm starting to feel like I'm stalling here. Generate readmes. This doesn't necessarily look well. We'll see what happens here when it fails. Let's just fill out our interface and make sure that we have these function signatures correct in our Rust CI. And I'm just going to take in all of these imports for now. that signature. And I'm gonna put a little panic here. And I'm gonna take this other signature and at panic there. And now we'll try to run this again and just see what happens. What is that? It's pretty gnarly. Okay. README related. No Rust thing somewhere. This error message is just awful. Wow. Anyway, it's on line 36 of README. Let's go figure out how to deal with that. Client, wrong directory. Client READMEs, line 36. More reflection here. What is this reflection? Yes, looking at fields of language docs. Pretty clever code. So we're putting all of our Rust stuff after Go stuff. That is just the hierarchy we have decided for Rust. Everywhere we see a Go thing, we're going to add a new entry for Rust. Clients. Rust. Okay, so we need another little scripty tidbit, a Zig module inside of our Rust directory. Rust docs. Let's go ahead and open in our Go directory. We have CI we looked at. Go bindings, which are the bindings generators for Go, which we have created also a parallel bindings generator for Rust. And here's one last little piece of Ziggy scripty glue. And let's just look at the interface here. We're going to be importing some kind of helper module from main clients directory. You can see there's two little support modules here. It's interesting the way Zig module, the module system works. It either allows or encourages modules just to be kind of anywhere. And like Rust also perfectly allows for that, but you don't see that in Rust very often, probably because Rust has a default like preference. It's opinionated about where modules live in the file system, whereas if we look here, you can see imports in Zig are file system based. Where in Rust you just say like module doc types, and if you wanted to live in a non-standard place, you'd have to go say. And one of the things we're seeing here is that for better or worse, you can just kind of like put modules anywhere you want and then just pull them in from anywhere you want. I kind of like that. Like it kind of puts, it's not being non-opinionated unless you organize however you want. And a lot of people do find the Rust module system to be confusing for whatever reason. Real quick before I pay attention to chat, I just want to tell them, see what this is. So, okay, the whole interface here is declarative. It's just a bunch of fields that describe language-specific stuff. So I'm just going to copy this wholesale and go put it in the Rust directory as docs.zig. And that should be the same. This, I think I can just comfortably switch these Rust. This is RS, the extension, proper name Rust. Don't know what that does. not sure what this name means, but I'm going to say TigerBeetle Rust. Yeah, honestly, I'm just going to replace all of this. I can guess what all this should be. docs.rs/TigerBeetle. Why are there, what is going on here? There's some, oh, this is, I see. It's an image tag, and within it there's a link. TigerBeetle Go, TigerBeetle Rust SVG. I think this is probably just an automated, actually I'm not sure. We might have to make this SVG. Actually, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on here. To do. I'll figure that out later. This does not seem relevant to Rust. Just gonna say to do here. Yep, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that I just have no idea. Cash Wasabi, I don't really know myself the state of TigerBeetle hiring. That might be a more appropriate question for the TigerBeetle Slack. There's a questions channel there that every question gets a response. But I'm not involved in TigerBeetle hiring. Yeah, no, Siam, I don't really understand what exactly the Zig module system is all about. Do you know offhand whether like modules are deduplicated? That they must be, right? It's not just textually included. Like you import the same file from two different places, they probably get they're probably considered the same module internally. You guys are doing pubconst go docs no type equals docs. Does it matter, or is it a style choice? I think it doesn't matter, Cash Wasabi, but I am not. Let me go find the thing you're referring to again. Right here. I think, no, this one. Oh, this is Rust docs. I think it doesn't matter, like whether you do put the type hint there and just say, you know, here's an anonymous struct that gets coerced, I guess, to this. Or just name the struct and have type inference decide what type this is. I don't think it matters. But I also don't really know the rationale behind the TigerBeetle's style decision in that respect. There's a proposal to remove. Wait, no, Siam. There's a proposal to remove this type annotation here? Or is it to remove that format? Like, this type int seems super important. All right, I'm screwing up now. So apparently, just to repeat what No Siam said in chat, this is apparently officially the preferred style. Oh wait, no. Backwards. All right, sorry y'all. I'm reading the chat backwards. This is the proposed style. Like this is the official proposed style for this type of structure. You know, use the normal type annotation and then use this. No, Simon, is this anonymous struct? Is that what this is right here? Just have this be an anonymous struct that gets coerced to a docs type. Nah, I don't mind nitpicking, Cash Wasabi. I don't mind questions at all about programming and programming style, especially Zig style, because I don't know Zig very well. And I'm a procrastinator, and I'm pretty happy to just stop doing my actual work and chit chat. All right, let's keep looking through these fields and see if we can just guess what they are. Test file name, no idea. Install commands. I'm guessing this is all just snippets. This is probably all just snippets that get splattered into the markdown. We can probably deal with all of this later. This is an interesting approach. So like the same docs are going to be written for every single client with just tiny bits of variation. So there's kind of like no room to make the Rust client README like super amazing. We just have to go with like whatever is written in the general client README, I guess. But yeah, I think I can just leave this all and just see what comes out the other end. And we'll slowly massage it into something that looks better for Rust. Anonymous structs cannot coerce to type structs anymore. It's not anonymous and not coerced. Okay, so it's kind of inferred bidirectionally that struct instance, the struct constructor without the struct name, without the type name attached to it, is type inferred backwards, or at least in the other direction, and it's not an anonymous struct, according to chat. Sorry, I'm kind of mush-mouthed today, not explaining stuff very well. Unexpected argument Rust. Why is that unexpected? I'm probably just writing it wrong. Let's go look at that YAML file again. -- language equals Rust. Language equals Rust. So it's changed in 0.14. Yeah, we're still in 0.13 for the meantime. There's a PRN that is complete. I think they're just waiting for some cautious reason until some major work gets done internally before they pull the trigger and upgrade TigerBeetle to 0.14. So I have not actually done any Zig 0.14 programming. Okay, there's still some errors here. File not found. And generate readme's test freshness. I'm guessing that, based on the name of this, test freshness, that we're probably just going to need to touch that readme maybe to make sure it exists before this thing will start generating it, but not sure. My opinions of Zig compared to Rust are, I have some. I haven't really organized them, and I'm also kind of reluctant to talk about it just out of caution, because I have opinions. Actually, interesting stuff. So when I talk about Zig at this point, I try to talk about the good stuff, the stuff that I think is pretty cool. But I'm yet holding back any critiques of Zig that I may have. Though if you watch my stream enough, definitely some of them spill out sometimes. It's mostly just syntactic sugar. Anything that got me excited about Rust 2024 specifically? TCP stream, I don't remember anymore what was specific in Rust 2024. And I remember I did a big upgrade of some of my personal projects, and it was very smooth, which I'm always appreciative of. I think I had to make very few changes to actually do the upgrade to 2024. But in general, I don't really keep on top of new things coming to Rust. I do usually read the release notes or the release blog post at least. But I don't really feel, a lot of people differ, but I don't feel any longing for any major new changes to Rust. It's plenty powerful, and a lot of the stuff that gets added to Rust, I'm kind of like, okay. Yeah, typecasting is one of the things in Zig that's kind of a pain. There's a lot of ceremony for getting types cast around, even more so than Rust sometimes. All right, let's figure out what this test freshness thing is. Scripts. Test freshness. Oh, it's in client readmes. What is the thing here that actually failed? Some kind of read file alloc on line 44. Okay, so it's trying to read walkthrough. Some kind of walkthrough documentation here that has to exist. Yeah, Cache Wasabi, like once you're dealing with like traits, like dynamic traits or even static traits, like the type signatures get hilariously long in Rust. It's pretty frustrating sometimes. Even for some pretty simple generic code, the type names become very long. Yeah, I tooted some very innocuous function signature recently that it was kind of beautiful in how long it was, but it was just abstracted over like dynamic iterators and dynamic futures, and it was just like, wow. When the thing it did was very simple. And it was kind of beautiful and kind of ugly. No, Sam, I would say, unless you really have performance reasons to care about using the heap, especially when you're writing like concurrent code, async code, just throwing stuff up on the heap is the easiest way to get around borrowing problems. And it's perfectly fine. It's still going to be faster than anything you write in Node. All right, samples. Where does this live? Samples? No. Where is this samples directory? FD samples. FD samples. Oh, every single client has a samples directory. So we'll touch samples, and then we'll look at the Go samples directory. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, someday somebody is going to like figure out how to do the things that Rust does in a more ergonomic way. But like all the places where Rust is really ugly, it's there for a reason, even if sometimes it's frustratingly unsatisfying. And it's able to do things that other languages can't do in those cases. And someday there'll be like a successor language to Rust that is able to do things like just formulate the type system in a cleaner, more satisfying way. One of my good friends, Nico Matsakis, kind of the primary Rust type system designers, does have a new language he's working on called Dada, although it's so early in development it's not even worth looking at really. And he's like, his kind of life mission is just figuring out how to do this borrowing thing in a way that humans can understand, because so much in Rust, like, I can't even understand, and I'm supposed to be smart. I wouldn't claim that I'm that smart really, but I'm supposed to be good at Rust, and there's lots of stuff in Rust that I can't understand. All right, so this wants a, let's see, is it going to do this to us for all of these directories, or do we just need a walkthrough directory? Well, let's let the compiler lead us there. Let's touch the walkthrough directory. Oh, I touched samples. That doesn't make a directory. Samples, cursive, make dir samples, walkthrough. And if we go to Rust, samples walkthrough, it's going to expect something called test source path, test file name. Okay, I'm getting it. Main dot, what is test file name? Test source path, test file name. Let's go look at that Go directory again. All right, I'm guessing this is an empty string. So if we look at our docs.zig, this is all feeling very ad hoc. Presumably the errors here are going to lead me through this. Yeah, wait, test source path, test file name, where's, okay, test source path, empty string. Yeah, pretty gnarly here. I'm actually wondering, it's saying that this is a test, so maybe we actually want like a TOML file for our test in Rust. Walk through Rust, but for now we'll say main.rs and just save fun main to do bang. See if that gets us any further in our build. Yeah, I'm curious how the Zig team tackles async and how what their philosophy leads them to. Because as I recall, one of the big selling points of Zig is no hidden control flow and like async await. Are they doing like await state machines? Yeah, they are, right? And to me, like async await is just like all hidden control flow. Integer overflow. All right, what is this? This is going to be a slog, y'all. Just debug and debug and debug. Test freshness. Client readmes. Read section. What is this? Code section imports. Huh. Okay, well, let's go. Let's see. Let's look at our diff and see if we have stuff that we should stash away. Yeah, we've made progress here. We should get a checkpoint. Colorless async. I'm curious what that'll look like. I don't really find the what's your color problem to affect me at all. And I do write a fair bit of async Rust. That's like the least of my concerns with async Rust is what color my function is. Though it would be nice if like the function color was like a type state type of thing or an effect. So like the compiler could tell if you were accidentally blocking somewhere. Sorry, Chad, I'm not paying super attention right now. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Oh, I made a commit, and that's going to force... I still don't understand. This has affected me a lot recently, where like, it doesn't even seem to be just a cargo thing. Like if you make a commit to Git, lots of build systems seem to automatically rebuild. Like Zig seems to do it, Cargo seems to do it. I wonder if that's an intentional thing or accidental and why that happens. I thought it was a bug in our build script for a while, but it doesn't seem to be. Integer overflow. All right, remember, we're looking at client readmes. Client readmes.zig 64 root readme. Okay, so probably we need our readme to follow a certain template. And right now I have just a completely bespoke Rust readme. So let's go look at the Go readme. And then let's look at the Rust readme. And I'm kind of wondering if I want to keep anything here. Probably not. I mean, this little sample looks pretty useful. Let's see, what is this code doing? Readme root. Readme root. Context readme root. What is going on here? Okay, it's not doing what I thought it was doing. I thought this was going to read like a template from our directory. That doesn't seem to be the case. What is the errors? There's a read section thing here. Code section 126. Context. Code section imports. Function code section. Read section. Okay, some like template-y thing I haven't provided, whatever this section is. Read section pulls a single section of code out of the walkthrough example. And this whole thing is pretty wonky. Okay, so somewhere section. Let's look at the Go. Walk through Go. Okay, there's some kind of special embedded DSL here for marking sections. Into section imports, section imports. Crazy long compile time. I'm curious what your experience is with colorful async functions, Wasabi. If you're, sounds like you are very passionate about this problem, and like I said, it just, you know, the function color problem just really hasn't affected me at all. It's kind of seems like you know, it's a fun thing to debate. Like it's about language purity, right? It would be nice if this problem didn't exist, but import. Okay, so I don't need anything here yet. I probably can say import. Wait, that's not a keyword in Rust. Well, actually, And the way people are going to use this, there's actually going to be no imports necessary. Imports. Oh, this is a bummer. Let's look at how the Java walkthrough looks. Because I'm just wondering, like, are we going to have to teach the README generator about TOML files and things like that? Okay, so they do have a, I assume it's like a Maven manifest. Yeah, Maven. Let's look at how they do their configuration here. It's in docs.zig. Test source path. Okay, so their project file is their manifest file. Okay, let's just let's update our guesses. Rust. This kind of system is like the thing where it's like you have the guy who wrote it just do it for you. It's like, I can't understand this. You implement this for me. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, I'm sure like an afternoon of hacking on this and you'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Clients, Rust, docs.zig. Yeah, so basically, in check, Wasabi's argument is that like async just gradually leaks into all your functions. And that's, I can understand that. Like the evolution of a function kind of goes from having no side effects to side effects. Like a simple function gains more capabilities, and then once it gains I/O, it's kind of in another world, another class of functions. And it's kind of true whether it's async or non-async. Like once a function gains side effects, it's just kind of like expanded into from a pure function to like another world of functions. And capturing side effects like that in the type system in general is useful. Though I take it, async functions are, another world on top of that even. Like async functions are even more of a pain than just general I/O functions and side affecting functions. But it seems kind of like a similar problem to having some way to name effects in the type system. I recognize that the nature of compiling async functions and non-A functions is completely different, and the way they have to be executed is completely different. Yeah, I guess when I sit down to write async program, I just accept that like the world is async, and I'm just going to have to suffer. It's going to be a harder program to write. But being able to abstract over asynchronous sounds useful. I don't really know offhand. It's not really something I think about all that much, but it does sound useful. Like being able to abstract over non-blocking and blocking I/O sounds awesome. All right, let's see. All right, we're cribbing off Java now. Let me switch these windows. Swap, window, swap. There we go. Okay, so project file name, cargo.toml. I'm really regretting, oh no, what is this? There's a whole project file embedded right here. I'm really regretting tackling this problem. Project file name, cargo.toml. To do test file name. And then I guess in that case, we might as well use the correct structure. Really not liking this task at hand. Samples, walkthrough. It's going to use the idiomatic cargo project structure here, make a source directory, move main to the source directory, and then right here lives cargo.toml. This project file is to do. Install commands. There's really run command. What are you trying to run? I can sort of say cargo run. Install. I'm just going to guess cargo add TigerBeetle. We haven't actually published this crate, so this is not going to work presently. Okay, this looks a little bit closer to what we need. Let's look at the Java walkthrough source main Java. I haven't done Java programming in a long time, but that's always funny, traversing that gigantic directory hierarchy. Okay, go back to our main.rs. So our import section, we can say, really don't think there's going to be any imports in Rust. We'll see how that ends up in the docs. It's weird that in section imports comes after main. I guess I'll follow the same thing. All right, I'm just going to fill out these sections with no content yet. Just try to get the documentation builder to make a little progress. Oh, this is so... I don't like this. This is so fiddly. Yeah, just a bunch of empty sections. I guess the end result is that at least every client will have an equal quality level at their README. But it really seems like it's going to be hard to make a README that really sings with this kind of system. But we'll see. Create accounts errors. Oh, this is going to take many streams at this rate. I thought this was going to be like 2 hours, we're done. Maybe we can punt on the README. Once we get the README builder to like run and spit out some garbage, maybe our reviewer will let us punt that to the future and just put a big to-do on the whole thing. Yeah, Wasabi, that is totally true. This stream, we have been doing this stream since early November, I think. And like this project, if I was to estimate this project minus streaming, I'd be like, yeah, probably a month. But I don't believe in estimation anyway. It's always wrong. What is this batching stuff? Transfer batch. This doesn't show up in our API at all. We don't even have a concept of a batch in our API. Huh. I mentioned at the top of the stream, I just discovered that there's an unofficial TigerBeetle Rust client because the author of that client showed up on my PR. And I'm hoping that they will bestow their experience on my PR and tell me if I'm, missing anything really important like an entire batching API. Transfer flags, links. This is so boring. Transfer flag. There's so many sections in here. Yeah, I haven't even written the test cases that exercise this stuff yet. There's no way I'm going to be able to write this example yet. I need to go back and get more experience with the API and write the test suite first, and then I can write all these docs. Transfer flags post. Steal their tests. I don't really want to do that. I might crib off them for subjects, but to me, writing tests is where I really understand the code, and so I want to do my own thinking when I'm writing tests. So I'll probably kind of like when the development of this client in general, I started out by just digging in and trying to understand it as I went instead of cribbing off of other clients. And even now I still haven't really looked deeply at any of the other clients. Just because I would rather learn by doing. Just going on and on and on. Oh my gosh. Well, at least it's going to be a very thorough README. I wonder if I even need these sections. Maybe these are optional. Yeah, I'm getting the sense that the Java API is very different from the Rust API, which potentially makes sense because Java is going to have to jump through a lot more hoops in order to be memory efficient. So maybe they are really doing a lot of extra work. Import events. And another imports section. That's a curious name, since there is nothing there. Okay, let's see if this builds. Bzig. Wow, that was an adventure. Okay, I made a syntax error. Docs.zig, Rust, 127. Why is that a syntax error? Expected, comma. Ah, there's a missing comma right there. Expected. I'm just kind of wondering. This error message kind of fell in its face. The parse is weird here, and it's giving a strange error message. Like it's expecting a comma here because there's actually a comma missing in the line before it. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, no, Siam, it's just the market demand. There's been less demand for Rust clients, though there is some. Hey, Miss Anthrop, glad to see you here again. I'm just working on the CI for the Rust client, and it is turning out to be a quagmire. It's pretty deep. It is pretty deep. We're actually not doing CI right now. We are working on another generator, a README generator. TigerBeetle sort of has a README generator framework, a bespoke README generator framework for its client READMEs. And we're just trying to basically get it to not crash. I mean, not panic. Just emit some goop so we can keep moving on. Okay, here's another. Yeah, it's still not liking imports. Read section. Let's look at our main.rs. Just real quick. Yeah. So if you'll recall, I changed our directory structure like 10 minutes ago, and I forgot to load the correct buffer in Emacs. So I've been editing the wrong file. So what I want to do is just, what do I want to do? I can't remember the keystrokes in Emacs dir to move that file. So I'm just going to say save, write, source main, and then just kill that old file. And this is our file. And it's still not happy. But it's not happy for a new reason. Wasabi, it is not really parsing the clients, but it is parsing a collection of configuration files plus example projects to generate a README. So there's a bunch of samples. Here's our Rust directory. It has a sample directory and a walkthrough. And so this walkthrough is a sample that feeds into the README, and it's all kind of automated. So we have to put in all this kind of like custom markup to tell the generator how to pull out bits of code to put into the README. At least that's, I think that's what's happening. Okay, so now our error is in test freshness. So we generated READMEs. Generate Zen, what is this file? ci.zig. In the main ci.zig. test freshness. Okay. And then inside of client readmes, test freshness. That is where it's pulling the walkthrough. And it did the readme root generation. So we should have a readme generated right here. It does not look like the new generated readme. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, Wasabi, is that there'll be something in Rust that makes me have to change the entire framework, like add a new framework feature. And that's kind of, yeah, I don't really want to do that because then I'll have to really understand how this whole thing works. And I don't want to understand, I just want to get through the README. So this should have, I think that generates the README. Shell ensure file content. I think this is what's failing. Although maybe we got down to samples. Let's see. No. Client README. Client README is line 44. Oh. It failed here, just reading the walkthrough. Okay, this test source path, probably I did not update that test source path. Docs.zig rust, test source path. Yes, I think this should be source slash in order to make this format string work. Let's try that. Yeah, I'm complaining a lot about this system, but I don't know that there's a better way to do this. At least this kind of accomplishes the goal of ensuring a consistent level of quality for all of the clients. You know, having the CI integration be exactly the same. Okay, here's okay, back to this error again. README root, code section imports, read section. Source. Samples, walkthrough, source, main. Section imports. And this error is section imports. Line 126. Code section imports. README root. Code section. Like, so this function, right? This is all markdown written as multi-line zig strings. Like, in a more mature system, this itself would be a template, so you didn't have to like maintain markdown in zig like this. This is pretty unfun. This is pretty unfun. Like the doc, if you're a contributor and you had to guess how to edit the README file, you're probably not going to say, it's probably like interleaved with a bunch of zig code in a zig file somewhere. code section, read section. That's the thing that's failing still. We have made very little progress in the last half hour. Okay. Section name. I'm wondering if I've just failed to read the entire file, or if maybe, like, the error here is use of a null value. Last index of scalar section. Like, surely the problem here is this section is null? No, it didn't find. Okay, I think I see what's happening here. It's like looks like a corner case in the README generator. So it's looking for a new line in the section. And I'm guessing because I put just stub sections in there that are just, the section markers are one line to the next line. I'm guessing there's probably no new line to find here, and just the whole client generator is crashing. We can probably improve this pretty quickly. Like the next person to come along and do this process, we don't want them to run into the same thing. Like maybe we can just add a more appropriate panic message here. No, Siam, if is the README supposed to be written in the Zig source code? Well, you see, this whole thing is like a templating. It's like an ad hoc templating engine. And basically, this README root function is the README file. And it's markdown intermixed with like imperative instructions for for emitting more markdown. And so this is the README file for seemingly every client. And then we provide a Rust specific configuration. And this function just emits the README. All right, so I'm guessing the problem here. I don't really want to yakshave and go make that a better error message right now. But here's, I think, I don't know, the import section is the one it's complaining about. And my hypothesis was that like this formulation of a section was triggering that failure. But the import section does contain new lines. This import section doesn't. Reads a single section name, cut text, section start. Mean. What I'm looking for right now is to understand if this code that we're debugging right now is looking for both of those import sections. Because remember, we have two import sections for some reason, copied from Java. Imports. Okay, and it only shows up once. I'm wondering if the Java section imports and section imports. I'm wondering if this is wrong, because there's another import section for the Java example up here. Now create and copy this into it. Honestly, this whole approach of saying like, here's how to write the example step by step feels like more work than it's worth. Like you could just link to GitHub and say, Here's an example. Just go read the example. But I guess the proof is in the pudding. We'll see how the README reads when all is said and done. I'm still just so baffled here. All right, let's go look at the let's go look at the Go one again. Main.go. Do they have two import sections? They do. They have another import section down here. Huh. Read section. Main.rs. I kind of just want to, I wanted to understand what's happening here, but I also just want to kind of test this theory. Like, if I put an extra space in here, is it going to work around the problem? No. Oh, it did. This is a different error. Indent min is less than 18. Okay. Okay. Just every single error makes me feel worse and worse. I'm not loving this, y'all. Frustrated. 587. Okay, so I do think putting the space here worked around that issue that it was having. $587. Assert indent min is less than 18. Just checking whether I have any long lines here. What is this doing? I'm wondering if this is the same, yeah, okay, same section. Yeah, still looking for that imports. We're still working on decoding this import section. Indent min, indent line, indent min. Do I have, I do not have any big indents down here. Lines, so it's just splitting lines. We could go ahead and just do some debug printing here. Indent line equals. Okay, this might be another, just another little quirky bug. So it starts, it's trying to count like the maximum indentation, and it starts by setting the indent to the maximum int. And probably it's just like seeing that there's no content here and discounting this line at all, and so we just have maximum indent as max int. Not loving this. Not loving this. Like, can I just put just some kind of garbage here to try to get around this? Okay, yep, I can just put some garbage there. We got past the import section, now we're at the client section. So all these errors, I would really like to make these better error messages. Like, I'm complaining a lot about this code generator, right? So it really behooves me to clean up after myself and improve this. But I also have a task at hand here. Like, I want this to work. Let's go back. Let's see if we can make this a better user experience for the next person. $622. 577. 577. Client readmes. 577. So So we're reading the section. And I wonder if we could just have a short circuit here and be like, you know, if it's white space, great. It's just an empty section. Yeah, no, Sam, I can't really copy the code because this is embedded in like the template. The template here is Rust code, and I cribbed off of Java code and the Go code, but like I can't just like copy Java code into this Rust file. That's just nonsense. So I basically have to go handwrite all these sections someday, probably a distant day. Like this client readmes that I'm editing here, that I'm debugging, is not something that I have copied, like with the code generator. This is a common code generator, a common readme generator shared by all the clients. So I haven't just like copy pasted this Zig code. This is the same Zig code that all the clients are sharing. It's not like with the Rust bindings generator where we just copied one generator and reworked it for Rust. Section in section. So is this accumulating multiple sections? If there are several such pairs, their content is concatenated. Gotcha. That's what I was missing here. Section start. For 0 through 10. Okay, so I guess that's looking for 10 potential sections to concatenate. And each one of these loops is a section fragment. Now I'm really having to understand this generator code to debug what's going on here. So section cut, section start, section cut. I don't know what this cut function does, but I'm guessing this is carving out whatever is between those two markers. Section cut, prefix, text, section cut, suffix. Okay, that's the remaining text. Just setting that up here for the rest of the loop. And section is the prefix. And this potentially could just be white space. All right, what I think I want to do here is say if stood mem, anybody know offhand what the function to check for white space is? Is, probably not is, maybe ASCII is, all right, guessing here is not gonna be fruitful like it is in Rust. In Rust I know enough that I can often just guess, but let's go to the Zig docs. And I was really hoping to accomplish a lot more than this today. All right, 013, Zig standard library. White space. Oh, it is standard ASCII. Standard ASCII. Check that out. Let's find that again. I was about to guess correctly. Standard ASCII is white space. Oh, that's just for a single byte. How do I check for white space? Gonna have to compose this with some kind of search function. It's just a list of white space. ASCII. Are there any helper functions here that are specifically about white space? Is ASCII for a byte? Is white space for a byte? Do I have to just open code a loop for this? That's right, no Siam. That's the pattern they're looking for here. Index of any. Wait. Index of any. Ah, stood mem index of any. Okay, that's what they're looking for. Okay, index of any, type parameter, slice, values. Okay, I think I can remember that. Index of any, type parameter, slice values. Const is white space equals stood mem index of any U8 section stood ASCII white space equals null. That sounds right to me. And then if is white space, I think we can probably just do like a continue probably. Probably just like appending, just appending stuff. Section content. And maybe we can put a warning here. Stood. Let's see, what print mechanism are they using within this CI? Logging maybe. No calls to print. Yeah, log, okay. We'll say log dot warning. I don't remember if it's warn or warning. I'm going to say warn. Empty section S. And I don't think that needs a new line. I'm going to put the section name here. Let's see if that gives us a better experience. Wasabi index of, wait, what is index of any? Index of any white space. Oh yeah, I'm totally doing this wrong. I'm totally writing this comparison wrong. I want basically the whole thing to be white space. I'm not just looking for any white space. I want a function that says, I don't even know what the name of this function would be. I want to check for whether this buffer is white space. Yeah, you're totally right. Good catch. That's the difference that thinking about what you're writing makes. Yeah, it's not index of any. I just want an is white space function. I can open code a loop. I can just do the opposite, no Siam. Say more. I'm not smart enough to understand what the opposite is. Well, it's okay for there to be some white space. Like this is not what I'm looking for. And also I might need to check for an empty section. Yeah, but I don't know how to do that no SIAM. Like I can't, this is an array and I can't like invert this set. I mean, maybe there's a way to get the inverted set of ASCII non-white space characters. Let's go look at the Zig docs a little more. Unless you, yeah, let's just open code it. If it ever makes it to the PR, somebody will tell me the right pattern. Okay, var not white space equals false. Then I'm going to say for section, tell me the, let me know if I'm doing any wrong Zig here. Oh, this is going to go somewhere else. If not index of none pose. Let's go look at that one. Index of none pose. Find the first item in a slice which is not contained in values. That sounds like the one. Okay, let's go back and try to do it with that one. That sounds like the one. Thank you. All right, let's reverse course here. Index of none pose, and then our logic is going to be different. Is has non-white space. All right, is that right? Equals, wait a minute. No, I think that logic works. We're checking for null. So if it returns non-null, then there is non-white space. If it returns null, it's only white space. Is that correct? I feel like that's correct. Looks like I need to import log, const log equals std. It returns a nullable integer, I think. Yeah, nullable usize. Optional usize. Just a syntax error. All right, and if this gives us a better user experience, we'll make a tiny little commit here all on its own. and then just like stash that in our pocket for later, and we'll submit that as a separate PR once this whole mess is kind of better sorted. All right, what is this? Index of none pose, expected 4 arguments, found 3. Type, slice, start index. So this one expects a start index. That's curious. A different shaped API than the other function. This is peer programming. It's pretty great. I really appreciate all the help. It makes a much better stream. You can use index of none without the pose. Let me look at that one. No, Siam. Without the pose. It's just, that's the difference, is that start index. Let's go look at that ourselves. Stud mem. Index of none. Yeah, okay. So basically the same return type. We just don't need this. Wait, index of none right there. Yeah. That's the one to use. Yeah, I kind of wonder, in my brief tenure as a streamer, I've noticed that like some people stream with the intent of producing like content, like they can go up to YouTube and is standalone. And some people stream with the intent of just kind of like streaming and engaging chat a lot more. And I certainly, in my experience so far, I really appreciate having people to talk to while I'm streaming, so it's not so lonely. Like at least I know that, you know, 2 or 3 people will appreciate this stream before it goes into the archives of YouTube and nobody ever looks at it again. So I really appreciate a kind of like active stream with a lot of participation. Is white space, is index of none, no pose. That would be awesome, Wasabi, if you did streaming your Zig. You know, with Zig in the nascent state it's in, it needs more evangelists. And I'm doing my Zig right now, but usually the stream is more Rust oriented. And I'm just curious about like the programming streaming, whether it is actually useful to the world or not. Like obviously video game streaming, you know, people love that. Programming streaming is much less popular than video game streaming, but it seems like some people really appreciate programming streamers, but there's far fewer of them than gaming streamers. But also like the long-term educational value of a stream like this seems very minimal. Like, is anybody ever actually going to go back to this archive on YouTube and watch this stream? Probably not. Like, the value is in the immediate interaction, probably, and just chit-chatting about programming, I think. All right. We've been working on this one line of code for a very long time now. Yeah, to really get the most out of this project, like it has got to be well over 60 hours of streaming at this point, and it is very slow going. And you could sum up everything that has been on the stream in like a few thousand-word blog post. Okay, looks like I need a ampersand. You can see here, this error message is great. That's a nice error. Yeah, and I don't know if I'll ever blog about this project specifically. It's project itself is kind of minor, though I do think this project has a lot of good Rusty systemsy topics in it. What I might blog post is about like what I learned by streaming the project. Yeah, these compile times are okay right now. I do think TigerBeetle takes longer to compile than I would like, and this computer is pretty darn fast. On my laptop, TigerBeetle is painfully slow to compile sometimes. Uh-oh. This whole check that we just wrote for like 30 minutes did not actually catch the scenario here. 583. All right, let's print this thing. Let's see what this section actually is. This continue should have 580. Hold on. 583. That's nothing. Something is wrong here. Wasabi, what do you mean by Jai-like compilation? I kind of have a feel for how Zig compilation works, but I haven't read about it in depth, and I don't know anything about how Jai compilation works. Okay, so it is still, okay, line 584. Yeah, right there. So it is getting past this continue section. Let's print this section and see what's in it. Std.debug.print. What are we actually looking at here? Ah, I gotcha. Jai compiles fast. You know, I know Zig has a reputation for compiling fast, but I mentioned it before that TigerBeetle feels like it compiles slower than it should. And I speculate that it's just because there's a huge amount of comp time in TigerBeetle. Of course, that LLVM step is always pretty bad. That looks like white space to me. Why didn't that... Was my logic here incorrect? If is white space, index of none. This logic looks right to me. I am really in the weeds here. Yeah, y'all keep chatting with yourself while I just slowly print line debug what is going on here. I should print the length of this too. Section .lin, I think is it. Format optional without a specifier. Okay. See you, Wasabi. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. So the length of this is 20. Oh, it. Oh, Let's go ahead and. Always forget that std debug print needs an explicit new line. All right, 2 hours, and we have accomplished not much. And the thing we're building right now is not even TigerBeetle, and it's strangely slow. Gotcha. So remember, I've been adding a short circuit for white space. And at some point, while I was trying to make this work, oh, actually, no. I think what's happening here, okay, so I did some print line debugging, and this is the string that we expect that has been causing us problems. This is the string that's been causing us problems, and you can see this is like a little Rust comment. Which is this. So this little Rust comment is part of the section. But my hypothesis long ago was that this was failing. So this specifically is looking for new lines. Last index of new line. Maybe we just need to make this more robust. So right now this is searching for, I'm guessing what this is actually doing is trying to cut off that comment. So it's expecting, code here. And then it is searching for this new line right here so it can shave off that last comment. But what happens if, there's no line here? Let's just account for that. And let's do this. All right, all that code we wrote is wrong. I don't think that's the problem, no Siam. I don't think there is no new line here. There is no new line here. So the section parser is throwing away this first line. Oh, can you see that above my head? Yeah, you can. So this first line is getting thrown away. This end section tag is getting thrown away, probably to the end of the line. And what remains of the section here is this. And then this follow-up sub-slicing operation is trying to get rid of this trailing line because in probably every instance, it's going to contain a comment, just a stray comment to house this intersection tag in this embedded DSL. So it is looking for this new line right here, but it doesn't exist for us. So what I think I actually want to do is just go do this search for the new line and add a case for, like, you know, if there's no new line, then we must be looking at a completely empty section. And I think what I want to do here, let's see, this is where my lack of Zig knowledge is going to hurt me. This is going to be a const new line index, and that's a nullable. And I want to say, probably I can say else here. There's some kind of conditional construct that'll handle a nullable here. Something like that. And here we can write this warning. Empty section, and then this new line index is valid after that. And this else, I don't know, or else, thank you, or else. Let's see if that does it. All right, and what is this building? Build exe. I wonder if there's some issue here that, like, maybe the TigerBeetle setup is rebuilding the standard library, because I know, like, the TigerBeetle setup vendors all of Zig. This is a lot of building for this one tiny little program. Yeah, but the scripts are not big. Integer overflow. Okay, so something happened here. Oh, here it's looking for the client code section. So we got past the imports code section. Client's code section is also empty. Probably this is after this loop, I would guess. Yep. Oh, and it's expecting whatever the cumulative section content, it is expecting it to end with a new line. So it expects the final result to at least have one new line. Maybe I can push a new line here. That should at least make progress. Not satisfying to just push a stray new line to get past the next step. Unreachable code. Okay, still in the same function. Assert. Okay, this section parser really hates what I'm doing. It really wants the sections to contain stuff. But I don't have stuff in my sections right now. Yeah, it really feels like it's just recompiling stuff that it shouldn't be recompiling. All right, I'm going to go down here. I'm just going to add another thing. I'm going to say if section content.len equals 0. Let me know if there's like a isEmpty method that I should call here instead. Empty section, return section content. No, Siam, no, just adding empty spaces is not going to work because why? It hits. Oh, so if you just add an empty space, like a blank line to every section, then there's another check down here about max indent size. And this issue is that like there's no indents to count, so then like it thinks the max indent is infinity basically, and hits another assert down here. And really, it's not that I want to work around this problem, because we did figure out how to work around this. It's just that I want to make this experience less difficult for whoever comes after me. Yeah, we found a workaround like an hour ago. It's just I thought probably my responsibility to make this experience better for the future. Okay, this is an array list, not a slice. I have found, like, TigerBeetle is a very small team, very young project. There's all kinds of places where someone can come in, start poking at the surface of the CLI and just immediately find things where the UX can be vastly improved. Just many places that can be profitably contributed to in TigerBeetle. All right, I'm going to go look at the array list up here. Figure out how to ask if an array list is empty. Probably what's going to happen here, y'all, is I'm going to get this immediate problem solved, and then get our workspace and our history somewhere sensible, and then we'll call it a day. I'm looking for like a function that asks, is this empty? I don't see the word empty showing up in a signature though, so maybe I just have to ask for the length. And of course, I think we have this entire type vendored in TigerBeetle. Let me check. This is a array list. Oh no, this is just a standard array list. All right, let's go back and look for the appropriate methods. Clone dinit. I'm really just looking for anything that talks about length at all. Do I need to pull out the underlying slice to ask for the length? This is like turned into a beginner Zig stream at this point. It's an array list. Maybe I just have to get the underlying slice. My array items, yeah, items is, I guess, the, yeah. Items, I assume, is the field that contains the underlying slice, and I can ask for the len kind of built-in field on items. Hey, Marky, do you know offhand in these docs, one thing that always bothers me about this doc specifically is that array list doesn't really tell me about the items field on it. Like nothing in here says, and like the idiomatic way to get the length out of an array list is to peek into the underlying slice, the items field, but these docs right here that we're looking at don't really lead us there. Let's just go do it. Oh, I'm so lost now. We've been really caught deep in the yak mines here. Client readmes. Section content. Items.lin. All right, that's probably going to do it. I'm also looking at the old Zig docs at this point. We're at a version behind. Maybe they've improved in the future version. No field, I called it items, but it section content dot items. So what I'm looking for is a lot of warnings, but for the README generator to make some further progress finally. We've been on this kind of one step of filling out our README template most of the stream. Okay, here's all of our empty sections were accepted this time. That is nice. It's documented an array list unmanaged. Let's go check that out for posterity. This is array list aligned unmanaged. This is array list unmanaged. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. But there's several like layers of abstraction around array lists. Maybe the documentation is better in 0.1.4. All right. Okay, so this made it further. I'm going to go ahead and commit that change. You can see our workspace is a mess right now, and I've really lost track of what all these things are. But I want to say git add source scripts client readmes. I want to say git diff cached, I think. All right, so this is just kind of one like little tiny UI fix for this client readme script. I'm going to commit that. I'm going to say scripts warn on empty readme sections. Warn on but allow empty readme sections. Oops. Make sure I didn't accidentally commit anything I didn't mean to. All right. So we'll just keep that commit in our pocket for a while, and we'll submit that as an individual PR eventually. Right. The array list, kind of the philosophy around containers has changed in Zig, and you're supposed to be passing in allocators at every site that might allocate. And so the array list and the array list unmanaged, those APIs are being shaken up. Right. Thank you, A. Markey. I'm going to go ahead and make a little safety commit here because I really kind of lost the plot, but a lot of what we've done here is useful. And let me run this one more time. No, that is not right. See if we can push this README. I would really love to get the README generator at least spitting out something without completely panicking before moving on. or before ending the stream. Made it through read section. Client readme 75. Okay, file ensure content. Shell file ensure content. Sample readme. Sample directory. So every sample is supposed to have every sample is supposed to have a readme. Per sample readme. Okay, is this generating a readme, or is this just checking that I have written something there? Readme sample. Okay, so it should be generating a readme. Ensure final new line. Ensure final. Where is it actually writing? No idea. Readme sample. Clear the buffer. Call readme sample. And it's reading the old readme. I bet what it's doing is it is loading the old readme, then comparing it probably to the in-memory readme. So if I just put something in the readme right here, it'll be able to find that old readme. Doesn't really look like that's what happened. Samples, walkthrough, readme.md. Shell, file ensure content. Create file. And that's not what's happening here. It's writing to the file and doing a diff at the same time, something like that. File ensure content. I wonder why this is in a type called shell. Read the file, write the file. Maybe this path is incorrect. Let's go ahead and do a debug line and, oh wait, no. We have the path right here. Subpath equals path, subpath. File not found. So we're calling, I know I'm really just mumbling to myself right now. Definitely fading. Create flags. What are our create flags? Passed in. No create flags. File not found. Shell current working directory dot write file. Let's see if it wrote the other README correctly. Yes. Yes. This looks like generated README. But this file it is not finding. So it wrote the root README. Samples. This directory, though, walkthroughs per sample, sample.directory. Let's print what that is. Let's do debug.print sample readme. I'm expecting this to be walkthroughs or walkthroughs slash no. I'm expecting this just to be walkthrough. Unless I understand that this source is incorrect. But there's a configuration option that we have used to say look in source to find the main file. And I think, because like Java needs this as well. Java's main file is nested inside of directories. So I think the way it finds this README is independent of whether this source directory exists. Like it seems to be like this, the path that it's calculating this README seems to be wrong, but it looks right to me. Let me do that print differently. Put some kind of visual indicator there. Yeah, Go doesn't have a source there. We went through this process. The Go doesn't have a source there, but it's specified in like the configuration for each client. So this README generator is flexible enough to support like Maven projects and Go projects. And so the Java has this kind of nested source structure the same way idiomatic cargo projects do. Samples basic. Oh. Well, it wants me to have a README in all of my samples. Okay. Do I need other samples? I may not need other samples. Oh, wait. Wait. There is no basic sample here. How is it deciding what those samples are? Yeah. I guess every client is supposed to have those same four samples. README sample, README root, README sample. Four samples. Where is it getting samples? Oh, clients, docs, samples. Okay. Okay. CD samples, make dir basic. And just grab off the Go, ls, Go samples, make dir, two-phase, make dir. Yeah, I'm really, yeah, the CI is kind of like tied into this README generator, so I can't get CI working without also getting this README generator basically working. And I really feel like all this stuff we're doing right here is really beside the point at the moment. I do not need these samples or READMEs at the phase we're in this project. Okay, now all those directories exist. So hopefully it'll docs updated. Okay. So now all those directories exist. So now it can make progress. And there should be one more error here. I feel like we're almost past this phase of the CI script. I have to think of a good name for this episode on YouTube. And I'm feeling like Doc Generation Nightmare or something like that. Something provocative. Okay, we hit a to-do. Okay, we did it. I think we got all the way through the README generation. Oh, we did it. Wow. So now we've generated a bunch of READMEs that are kind of filled with placeholders. Templating hell. Help me, I am trapped in templating hell. I am trapped in template hell. All right, we're going to wrap up here pretty soon, y'all. Again, I don't have anything here I can push back to the main PR. I do feel pretty good about submitting this tiny little fix, that's just UX fix, as a different PR, but I'm toast today and I don't think I want to do that. So I'm going to push this to, I have a temporary branch, push, person, head, Rust client, something, CI probably. I need to force push that. And make sure our workspace is clean. And we really have nothing new to report on that PR. Ooh, that was, I'm gonna have to kind of reflect on that. Like, I don't really want to commit. Like, we've got the generator working. Yeah, I don't know about that. We got the generator working, like we get through that step, but the actual READMEs that it generates are garbage because it's just all placeholders. I don't know if I don't feel good about committing bad documentation. Like it's not even bad documentation; it's kind of nonsense documentation. So I'll kind of have to sleep on that, and maybe there's some other way to go about that, like just shut off the README generation step for Rust. Yeah, I mean, this is just something that every big project does, right? You got your own bespoke tools, and you got to maintain them, and that's just how it is. Hopefully, TigerBeetle grows bigger and bigger, and the tools get better and better, and they improve over time. Kind of the real failure mode is if, like, you build all your own custom ad hoc tools, and then the project just kind of like doesn't like reach escape velocity, and those tools just remain bad and everybody just suffers forever. That's kind of like the big failure mode with all this custom tooling. But TigerBeetle is going to get bigger and bigger and it's going to last forever. So these tools will improve over time. Okay, so we made a little progress on getting the Rust client past CI, but it was very slow going and it was pretty frustrating. How would I do this differently? No, Siam, I keep trying to sign off. If I were to do this, honestly, I probably just wouldn't do this. I'd have, like, there's kind of like a threshold where it like makes sense to start abstracting. And I just kind of feel like these READMEs haven't reached that threshold. Like this just feels like more pain than it's worth. Like if I were to make the call, I'd probably just say like, write the READMEs by hand and don't worry too much about having consistency between the docs of the different clients. Like I said several times on the stream, like the advantage here of doing this tool is that you have like a baseline quality level when it all works, and once you've pushed through and gotten it all working. But the maintenance burden here seems big, seems pretty big. And as to like how to do the same, accomplish the same thing, but with less pain, one thing that you could do, you can see here, there's a whole templating engine here, just an ad hoc templating engine. It's completely open coded. And having, a real off-the-shelf templating engine would make this easier. But of course, we're in Zig, where there's not a lot of dependencies available. And we're also in Tiger style, where that's kind of a no-no to pull in, a templating engine. So I think the fact that we're just kind of having all these ad hoc cases in a templating engine that the cases here just cover enough to handle the actual data for the TigerBeetle use case, right? The tool itself is not sophisticated enough to handle the wide world of possible data you might throw at it. So like we spent an hour, just writing a few branches to handle what a stock templating engine will probably give you nice errors for anyway. So as I was going through this, I was thinking wow, if we just had a handlebars template engine, a lot of this would probably be a nicer experience just with that. Okay, I'm really going to sign off now, though. I really appreciate the questions, though. So we made a little progress on CI, primarily adapting the README generation for Rust clients in order to README generation for TigerBeetle clients to accommodate the nascent Rust client. And next time, we're going to work on the scripting for actually testing the Rust client on CI. And once we've got that through, we will be one step closer to landing the Rust client PR. My name is Brian. Burson on GitHub, BRSON. My socials are there. These streams are always available on YouTube pretty shortly after they're done. All right, I'll see y'all next time. It's been fun.